I do want to talk about the Undertaker documentary, part 4 that aired on Sunday, The Battle Within, another great episode. It's kind of the same thing now where Taker's like, oh, I think this might be it, I'm done, and then he's not. That doesn't really come as much of a surprise at this point. But the footage that we see of him, early on in his career, in recent years, working the Goldberg match, which was a fucking disaster, him missing WrestleMania, for us specifically, having been there and him not being on the show, then he was on Raw the next night. It was just a very cool episode to see what was going through his head, the redemption match at Extreme Rules, and then he said, I'm done, Vince, I'm done. And then he comes back for WrestleMania 36. So the whole thing was great, but what was your initial reaction and thoughts to the episode, RJ?
I thought it was a good episode. Like you said, it's kind of getting to the point now, like every match he's had, he's like, am I done? Am I going to have another match? But after those 2 Saudi matches, I mean, can't on those notes. They both were poopers. But it was nice to see, like you said, get some redemption after with the Extreme Rules match. But it's definitely been a good series. It's just kind of sad to see kind of the struggle that he has of when's it time to finally hang it up. Like, I feel like he's kind of been in a crossroads for a while, just like, is this the time I do it? And like you said, after Extreme Rules, he said he was done, but then came back again. So, interesting to see how the last episode ends. It sounds like it's probably going to be the Boneyard match between him and AJ, which, I mean, I really enjoyed. So we'll see if that's kind of his last match and he'll kind of retire at the end of the documentary. But so far, it's so good. Definitely check it out. But it's kind of sad just to see kind of the state that he's in. It's kind of like Ric Flair-esque, like, just can't figure out when it's time to hang it up. I mean, he needed the money, so that's why he went to TNA. But but besides that, I think this episode, just like Shawn Michaels was saying, like how Taker now said, like, I should have left when you did. Like, that was 10 years ago. I mean, he's really holding on to this, and just, I don't know. I think I'm hoping that if WrestleMania 36 wasn't his last match, then he just doesn't. It's more cinematic stuff. Like, I don't want to see him in like an actual match again. I feel like it could be bad, and then just keep going in the same kind of rotation of him having a bad match and trying to redeem himself, and then whoever knows what's going to happen. But it's definitely worth check out.
Yeah, an endless cycle of just him repeating himself, redeeming himself, and it just never ends. Never-ending cycle. But I thought it was great. Very Ric Flair-esque. I'll definitely agree with you there. If you watch the 24 on Ric Flair, you'll see why. I mean, the Ric Flair story. You watch the ESPN special. It very much reminds me of that. But I thought it was very good. And the Shawn Michaels stuff was interesting. I think it was Michaels himself, or maybe it was Mick Foley, who talked about how addicting it was. Unless you're in the business, you don't really know how addicting that energy that you get from the audience is. So I completely get that. I mean, now I'm not a wrestler myself, but I can understand that. I will ask this, though. So you talked about his last match. His last match, it was great. He got a lot of great feedback. It seemed like he was happy with it. It was very well done. But it wasn't in front of a live audience. Do you think he may want to have one final match or whatever in front of an actual crowd before he bows out? Or do you think that he might be just content with wrapping it up at that AJ Styles Boneyard match at Mania?
We'll see what happens. I mean, I feel like they kind of teased at least at Money in the Bank, like possibly another AJ Undertaker match. So, I think that would be I think if he's gonna have one actual last match, I would want it with AJ. I think that's the best person you could have it with. It's kind of his farewell because AJ's so good. So, if he wants to have one more match in front of a crowd, I would do him and AJ again. I think AJ could carry him to a really good match, and they could tell a good story as well. So I hope it's AJ, but if not, I would just retire after the Boneyard match because it was it came off so well that I don't think risking it to face like another legend or someone else is worth it unless you're facing, like I said, like AJ Styles. It's pretty much the modern day Shawn Michaels. So
yeah, no, I completely agree. That was my next question too. So with AJ, and I said this last week, that with him being the new Intercontinental Champion, what I want to see, not that, again, if he says next week on episode 5, the series finale, that he's done, I'm content. Because like you said, I think that match was so well done. It was the perfect finale if it was intended to be one for the Taker persona. It was very good. Him, throwing the fist up in the air on the motorcycle with the fire and his logo popping up. It was awesome. But if he does have one more match, what I would do, and I want to get your thoughts on this, AJ last Friday won the Intercontinental Championship. Taker has never held the Intercontinental Championship. I don't think he gives a shit about becoming a Triple Crown champion, but he's also never held the Intercontinental Championship. AJ, you have him hold the belt for the next 5-6 months. SmackDown, their roster is growing. They have Matt Riddle there. I don't know if he should beat Matt Riddle, but maybe he's the one to beat AJ for it ultimately. But Matt Riddle's there. They have Chad Gable. Gable and AJ would be awesome. They can continue the Bryan feud. Hardy and AJ at one point would be cool. All roads should lead, in my opinion, to AJ and Taker for the Intercontinental Championship. Make that title mean something. For Taker's final match. We don't know what's his final match. They don't say that. But it happens at Survivor Series. Assuming they have fans, which, I think hopefully by then they will, but I don't know that for a fact. I'm not saying usher in fans for the sake of this moment, but it would be cool if they do. Because this Survivor Series marks exactly 30 years to the day since Survivor Series 1990, to the day since he debuted. I'm all over the place. Debuted at Survivor Series 90. So, do the match. AJ wins. Taker loses on his way out. Doesn't lose at Mania. I kind of like that. So he doesn't have to go, endure 3 losses at Mania after going undefeated for 20 years. So he loses. AJ wins. He gets his win back. AJ's still the champion. Taker loses in his final match on the exact 30-year anniversary. And that's it. That's a swan song. If it's not him, I really can't think of anyone else. So would you like to see something along those lines as well?
Hashtag book it, babe. It sounds good.
Hashtag book it. AJ gets a big win. He feels like a star. And I think that'd be great.